finally from working on this pilot. I did experiment with some pretty heavy contour this week, and I was nervous because then I was heavily featured with, HD cameras, and I didn't want it to look like a big old crayon shape on my face. I think we've all seen people walking around with contour and highlight the jaw, right? Or in the eyelid crease or around the hairline, right? We've used two different brushes, a lip pencil brush and a paddle brush that is good for packing on eyeshadow. And then in the conceal highlight places, we've used this NYX Bear With Me concealer serum, which I love, in the shade Light, to give us this enhanced structure to the face, right? And, I had my doubts, but, by just using this little crayon, getting it under the lip, make the lip seem more prominent, underneath that cheekbone, right? On the cheek, under the cheek, aiming toward the top of the ear, the middle of the ear, right? Other side. And it really just seems to have done the job of shrinking down the forehead and giving us some structure on the nose with a little thin line down the middle, right? We've used our concealer to try to, I wouldn't say erase, but maybe make the sides of the nose and the nostrils a little less prominent. We've highlighted our Cupid's bow, and we've put quite a bit on the chin and forehead to make our weak chin especially look more prominent. How we doing? I'm not unhappy. And again, what we were trying to go for was, if you're, playing law enforcement, the COVID times mean you have to do more of your own makeup, or you might not have any makeup. And do you really want to be on television or film looking like a thumb? I don't. I want structure. I want lashes. I want, my face, but better for camera. Because what? We're trying to get camera ready. Oh, baby, we got into that Marshall's out in Burbank when we were taking a COVID test. And we finally got our hands on the James Charles palette that I've only ever seen discussed and seen it all over YouTube and, Instagram and all of that during quarantine. Finally got my hands on it for the low price of $16.99. And it's about to be on today. We are going to get into this. All the colors, shades that you can use, I think for contour and highlighting and all of that business, but so colorful. When I first was seeing this palette, it just looked so intimidating. Too many colors, right? I still question, like, where are you going with orange and all of that? But as we know, I'm going to do my eyeshadow and then go grocery shopping, and I'll be getting all the praise at the at the dollar store and at the Target, because that's how it goes. But it's a really beautiful palette. Is it really something that James developed? The little blurb on the back, he says, James Charles here, and welcome back to my palette. I love glam, but I also have a huge passion for crazy, colorful, outside of the box makeup, and I created this palette with that in mind. I included every beautifully formulated shade necessary to create literally any look you could possibly imagine. I can't wait to see what you come up with when you unleash your inner artist. And in fact, that phrase, unleash your inner artist, I don't know if you can even see it, is written on the inside of the palette. There is no mirror, so that's kind of a bummer, but it is quite a big palette. Shade names are very interesting. Canvas, Punch Me, Flashback, B for the yellow, Social Blade for the green, Ring Light, Sister, Face, Guac, Daddy, So Good, Mary, Tune, Hello, Cape Cod, 518, which I guess is his home area code, literally, Code James, Tune, Playground, Cola, Rusted, You're Kidding, 10% Off, Brother, Acapella, Artistry, Escape, Halloween, Shook, Wig, Boutique, T, Benny, right? T and Benny, these browns here in the upper right corner seem like they could possibly be good contour shades. No Beans, Spooky, Love That, Single, Pinkity, Drinkity, and Skip. And, you know, in fact, the shade name sheet says the James Charles palette on the bottom. Now, I have heard that this palette has been on sale. It was 50% off at Ulta for a while. I never saw that. When I've gone into Ulta, it's been full price. But I did actually also use this light NYX Professional Makeup Bear With Me Concealer Serum on the lid. HD camera, law enforcement, I can't risk it. So I should just be cool, right? Just be cool and not go completely crazy. I'm gonna put this little dish of water aside. And, you know, I want to go for it. I want to go for something interesting. I really want to see what this palette can do. You know, these yellows and oranges are so far out. You know, there's shimmers that are so interesting. Rust. Gold is a little bit more of a normal, but I feel like this, you know, kind of like maroon shimmer, rust shimmer. They're very extraordinary. A green shimmer, a blue shimmer, a teal shimmer, and also a purple shimmer. You know, it really does kind of evoke some of Jeffree Star's, you know, sort of palettes that got heavily into blue and heavily into purple. You know, I think there's room in the beauty community for all of these different gurus, as it were. But I am eager to find out if this palette, you know, for my, you know, skin tone, if it's something that's gonna really deliver for me, or if it's gonna just look kind of lame. Is it gonna be Nicki Minaj, or is it gonna be you know, something that I can feel like, you know, when I have to play a particular role, or if I'm headed to the club, or if I want to do, you know, a photo shoot that is themed after, you know, different countries in the Caribbean. Can I look here for a strong enough look to balance out, you know, mango colors and yellow colors of my clothes, right? I have some things lined up for getting into my Instagram, and you know, I just want to know, what should I push? What should I pull? Should I pull Anastasia of Beverly Hills? Should I pull James Charles? Do I need to go and invest in some Juvia's Place? Is that what it's called? Juvia's Place? To get, you know, colors that have the depth to work for my skin tone, because, you know, there have been some disappointing palettes. Some of our Korean brands aren't quite saturated enough. It ends up looking like you've got, what is it? Talcum powder on your eyelids, and that's not the best. So, given that the palette does not have a mirror, and it's quite heavy, right? Let's see if we can balance the palette on our makeup storage area, right? Let's check the neckline, see if everything's rocking that there. And very excited about this magnifying mirror that came with our wall mirror, but I think the lighting is okay for now. Let's see what we can do in terms of some kind of, you know, let's go for it. Let's go for the palest shade, right? In the upper left. I don't know if that was the right. We're holding this random little brush from the dollar store at the very end, and I do see color payoff, right? This eye looks quite different than this eye. I don't know anything about the fallout story with this palette, but we're not being cheap with it, right? We got this palette for a song, you know, much less quality palette. I mean, people do talk crap about Morphe, but, you know, some of us aren't quite ready to be in the Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath, high end makeup place, right? We're kind of needing to build our skills and practice. And I feel like, you know, Morphe provides great options that you can kind of be in a pop place with your makeup. Maybe put some under our bottom lash line as a base. You know, and our friends at Sephora have certainly posted some interesting tutorials for us who live in the hooded eye community. And, you know, I definitely feel like I'm better at it than I was. So from here, what we doing? What kind of like actual crease color should we go for? Because there's a lot going on here, right? Could we build a crease color that's orange? That seems like it'll be a little bit too much. If our crease color is this yellow, right, then our outer V could be orange. And certainly there are some darker orange tones. But let's see if we can rock with the very brightest, right? That kind of like Harajuku moment, right? But I guess we should tap it off, right? And then look into the mirror, and a hooded eye person wants to go above the crease very lightly, drawing it on all the way to the nose bridge, right? I'm seeing some color payoff, you know, and I'm seeing some yellow. I was looking at something. It was some discussion of what makeup is flattering, and just kissing that color back toward the upper lash line. Some discussions of what colors complement a blue wig. Now, I have worn a blue wig at work, and you know, all I did was put on a nose ring, like a septum ring, fake. I don't have my septum pierced. Let's not play that game. But you know, it was cute, but I really didn't put on a lot of makeup. And you know, I feel like maybe I inspired the hair makeup team because they brought on a principal who they dressed in sort of a similar way to that I'd sort of dressed in blue and black, and this person they dressed in red. But then I feel like, you know, in as much as I experiment with my makeup, that this, you know, set of professional people brought this principal in and put her in tones of red, but then her base makeup to me looked gray. And I've certainly been in that place, and I don't think goth makeup is supposed to be gray. If anything, it's going to be pale and kind of in that white place. It looked like an accident. It looked like, because I've done it. If you take a cool tone foundation and then you get some contour in it that isn't, you can end up looking gray. And it looked gray in a way that was unflattering. Whereas I think a stark white, especially with red clothing, might have looked better. But that's just my opinion. So I'm not hating this yellow as a base color. I almost feel like patting it in is going to give even stronger color payoff, right? We're not trying to do a full rainbow. We're just trying to stick with, you know, let's call it tones of pineapple and mango, right? And just create a map. Was it Jeffree Star who was talking about stamping color on? I'm not sure. I watch so much beauty content, and I know it's sort of, people are saying, oh, is the beauty community dead? But it's like, you know, those of us who have to wear makeup at our job, it is by no means dead, because if you leave it up to other people, if you don't know what you're doing with your face and your facial structure, I think you always want to have an open mind. But I definitely have had makeup artists who worked on me with complete confidence and who played me, and I just ended up looking crazy. One thick blue line of liner under each eye. Why? This was years ago. This was before the under eye, you know, smoky eye. Did she think she was, you know, doing makeup for a Marc Jacobs show? I don't know. But it was messy and it wasn't good. But, you know, sometimes there's people who are artists who really are trying to do something beautiful, and then there's some people who just are trying to get by until lunch, right? And I feel like that person was the get by until lunch, or maybe her friend was just letting her get her hours so she could join the union. So that's yellow. We go in with a different brush, something know, a little bit more small and a little bit more precise. And if we go for that crazy tang orange, right? And really think about, tap that off a little bit, really mapping out that outer V, right? We don't want to get rid of that yellow because it's so good. And so what is the word they always say? Pigmented, right? Just using the tip of that brush to draw on that outer V, right? Stamping, getting that color into a V shape right on the outer corner. That's actually really pretty. I feel like it's too pastel for what we need an outer corner to look like, but I'm not mad. I think the coloration is not as sort of powdery and pale as I would have guessed for a sort of Caucasian person created palette. I would have, you know, sort of guessed there'd be more tones of talc than of color. And I'm not saying that to be critical. I'm just saying, you know, it's a different thing to buy makeup from Amon or Black Radiance than it is from, you know, a company whose main interest may not be people of color. And that's fine, right? We all experiment and adjust and, you know, see what's what. That's life, right? Experiment, adjust, see what's what. I don't hate that. Do you? I definitely don't. That looks really interesting and pretty. The people at the Target are gonna love it. So from here, I feel like we need more depth on that outer corner, right? The color is there, but the depth isn't. So we go into the next shade in the orange family with the same brush and just look at that outer corner and kiss that V, stamping that slightly richer terracotta shade into that outer V. I think maybe we're doing something, right? It's that emphasis, that structure that you want to get onto that outer V. And again, I was so looking forward to doing exactly this, just experimenting in this very colorful palette, right? This isn't taughty, you know, safe brown colors. This isn't, you know, going to church or going to, you know, your job as an accountant. This is more of a super bright brights, seeing how that color pays off on your skin tone, right? Seeing whether it gives you what you need it to give, right? If you were wearing a dress or if you had a special dinner, even on vacation, you would want something that's effective, colorful, flattering, and gives you what you need, right? Like so many girlies are doing just, what is the word? Bronzer as shadow. And that's great. That is a very reliable place to go with your makeup, right? And then from here, I don't know if we can use the same brush to blend this out, right? We're getting some harsh edges, especially on this side. But if we go back into this brush we used with our original yellow and just soften the edges, right? Blending that terracotta and mango into the yellow, being conscious of our shape, extending it up toward the tail of the brow, right? Other side, conscious of the shape, lifting, blending, just trying not to erase it, but just trying to get that gradient effect so that someone who might be colorblind would see the gradient effect of structure, right? That we're playing with dark and light ultimately, but there's hue, right? And there's blend and getting things into that place where they look seamless, that they belong together. And these may not have been the best brushes, but you know, again, I'm trying to figure out my technique before I dip into, you know, the more expensive brushes that I do have. Um, but I'm not unhappy. I do think I did a better job on this side. Uh, but it's an interesting, it's kind of like a candle flame effect. From here, we could stamp a liner using this, our favorite brush from BH Cosmetics. It's so super sharp, so super stiff. What would be the appropriate, I mean, there is a black and there's also a brown, but maybe we should go with this dark brown to kind of stamp a liner onto these very colorful shadows. So with our eye open, right, we want to look at the end of our lashes and stamp. Look at that. Other side. Wow. It's a really saturated brown, right? Looking at that angle. Stamp. Checking for symmetry. I'm not mad. Are you mad? I'm definitely not mad. And then just kissing that along the lash line. Right? Precision. Giving us what we need. Giving us an extended eye. Right? But then shadow that isn't so super harsh, doesn't look super harsh and plasticky. Oh, of course, on the nose. But I'm excited. I think we did something here. When things come out good, I get nervous that, oh, is it going to come off? Should I do something extreme to make sure it doesn't come off? But let's try to experiment with our inner corner, right? From the upper lash line, pointing in and down, hugging the lash line. And connecting it on top, thickening that lash line, respecting the shape of our eyes, and just a powdered liner. That's all. Right? Looking up, right? You can even take your liner under and kind of tight line with it. Any mistakes you can clean up with concealer or some micellar water. But I'm not mad at this at all. James Charles, Morphe, you know, there's been some naughty behavior. And I think naughty is too mild a word. But, you know, just like when Jeffree Star was in trouble, I, as a makeup newbie, appreciate the discounts. You know, should the palettes and brushes have been thrown in the trash? Not from a wasting resources point of view, but I definitely think it's something to think about, right? So many people in our world, from, you know, Donald Trump with his sexual assault and racial discrimination. I won't even say accusations, because there have been some legal findings in court in which he was convicted, right? Housing discrimination, that sort of thing. You know, it's not cool. But if you are someone who has a taste for, you know, the fix being in, maybe you're not offended by it. You know, I'm not the age or the gender of person that allegedly James Charles prefers to target. But that doesn't mean that I'm insensitive or not concerned about whatever this ongoing pattern of behavior is. I mean, it's like if it was a one-off and Tati raised concerns during Dramageddon, that would be one thing, but it just hasn't stopped. More people and incidents and Snapchat and TikTok, and, you know, it's too much. He's a grown-up now. It's time to handle your private life in a grown-up fashion, right? If you need someone, get your friends to introduce you to someone, and someone who is not underage. I'll put it like that. You know, but everyone's learning. Everyone's getting better, hopefully. But this palette, I'm quite delighted, right? I would almost leave it here. But we know what's next. We know we need to put a shimmer color in that inner 2/3 of our hooded eyes. Look how flattering. Look at that color payoff, right? I was concerned that this palette overall might be too pale for me as a person of color. But, you know, what's the right inner 2/3 shimmer for this set of colors? This yellow, mango, terracotta, pale terracotta. We didn't go for the darkest terracotta, and then we lined with this kind of dark brown. You know, there's some inner corner shimmers that are in the beige family and in the gold. Maybe let's go with this largest little circle. I have no idea what the shade name is. I could check, but let's get it on our, what is this? Bobbi Brown Essentials eyeshadow brush, right? And then stamp that on from the inner corner, kind of like a fake cut crease, right? Bringing light to the inner 2/3 of our hooded eye. We have dark lashes and dark brows. We do have an inner corner that could stand to be lightened up. I feel like this color, whatever it is pretty, right? We could take another brush and just kind of marry that shimmer into the other tones, but we definitely are getting a both subtle and pretty inner corner light and lift, right? Part of looking made up is looking like you know what you're doing with your makeup, right? Some of you who've been watching me know that somewhat of an ex contacted me during the summer and spent months talking to me and cultivating a relationship with me that ultimately did not work out. I've been peppered with various texts from him today, you know, kind of wanting my full attention again. And it's like, I can't really, on my one day off where I'm somewhat awake, I really can't spend all day and spend hours talking to someone who is not my man. You get the friend, you get the polite friend response, right? Like I responded, I said what was going on, and I can do what he does, which is just talk about myself, right? I can display no interest in what is going on in his life that he needs so much attention for. Why? Not to be mean, but just to kind of give him what he gave me, which is I'm not his woman. I'm not his girlfriend. I'm not his wife. So why do I need to do that much emotional labor, right? I feel like we have heavier inner corner shimmer on one side than the other. Let's correct that, right? That very cleanly round shape that we have on the other side. And this is without wetting the brush with setting spray. This is just stamping it on and building out what kind of suggests a cut crease, but it isn't. So when you look down and around, right, left, you get all that drama. And then just grabbing this original little cheapy brush and just blending those shimmer tones with the yellow mango, with the, I guess it is yellow. Is that a mango yellow? I guess it's that like Haitian color of mango, and then the orange color of traditional mango, and then a little bit of a pale terracotta. Just blending the mattes toward the shimmer, I think will give us the best blend. Mattes toward the shimmer. I definitely like it, right? So from here, Have we gotten a lot of fallout? I can't really tell, but I definitely feel ready to go in with a, um, so I guess the brown color was Benny, and then the shimmer color was Face, then our yellow was B, and 518 was our orange mango color, and then Code James was the terracotta, me likey. I mean, we could also consider using one of these shades as a blush before we put it all away, because I've definitely seen people doing that. Do we want to go in with a full, what do you call it? A full foundation, right? We've already done our contour and highlight. This is the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation. Oof. And this is in the shade Light because I felt like the dark, not dark, but medium was a little too much for my complexion. So randomly, let's just go to our little Daiso brush cleaning foam thing. Make sure we don't have a lot of product on this brush. It's been a while since we did our makeup. Is it clean? Is it not clean? We don't want to be caught wrong. But this is a dry cleaner makeup brush. You know, it's so tempting to buy more of these, but I'm like, no, I have one. All I need is one. Let me not keep collecting, and you know, let me. So this does have its own mirror, so I can put this little one aside and just look at our contour, highlight, contour, highlight on the nose, on the forehead, right? I really do think that gray color looks, what is the word? Credible. Credible as natural shadow, right? Why would there be shadow on the top of my head? Well, only in the makeup world. But, you know, just so that, again, on camera, you're supposed to be law enforcement. You're not supposed to be wearing a heap of makeup, right? All we really want to do is provide enough of a set, right, that it's just sort of a thin veil that maybe marries these contour and highlight shades together and maybe gets rid of any creasing under the eye, right? We could also use a velour puff. We just ordered some, so that's coming. I do like this. It's a Morphe stippling brush M442. Just to give us a little color over that very pale concealer and over that grayish contour shade. Is that enough coverage? Not sure. Right under the eye, over the nose, making that look a little bit less paint by the numbers and a little bit more seamless, right? Is this shade too light for our complexion? Maybe. But then this is a place where we can evaluate, right? We're trying to stamp and not utterly obliterate what we have done. You know, we can always check in with our neck and our ears and see, are we looking crazy? Are we looking flattering? I think flattering. Now, we can also put this powder concealer aside and look at our James Charles palette and see if there are colors in the palette that we can use as a powder contour, just to kind of get deeper into this palette, right? Is this upper corner shade something that we can at least try, or will it be too much, right? I'm talking about the color, the color T, right, which is quite dark up here. Or should we just try this color, which is on the upper left, Punch Me? Let's see if we can rock with Punch Me. And let's get a, this is our trusty contour brush, right? Is this too big? Maybe it is. Here's this brush, and maybe let's just try to make sure there's nothing crazy on the brush again. trying to see what James Charles has for us. You know, one question when you're buying makeup from from Marshall's is the makeup expired, right? So running this brush through this color and then grabbing our hand mirror, right? Looking at our contour and just brushing it over our contour, right? Other side, brushing it over our contour, right? Not low on the cheek, but quite high on the cheek, right? Running it under our jaw, kissing it up on the sides of the chin, and then running it across that double chin, down the neck, and then finally up onto the forehead in all the contour places, effectively shrinking down that forehead and hopefully giving us a more feminine and small forehead. Pinching the brush very precisely and giving a little enhancement to our nose contour. Under the nose, back up into the brow. I'm not mad. Are you mad? Are we looking a little pale? We can obliterate that by using this shade of matte eyeshadow as a contour shade. Now, if we wanted to go further, right? Today we were trying to experiment with non-warm contour. Contour that doesn't get into that orangey place. And I think that we've been successful, right? We're contoured. Is our face a little bit pale? Look at the boob area. Do we match? Is it all of a piece, right? The layers of makeup that we have on. Thinking about that brow bone, thinking about the gradient effect out from where the shadow lives. Now, with the same brush, we can clean it again and maybe get into something we shouldn't do, which is use one of these very bright colors as a blush, right? It's an angled brush, giving it a good clean. This is a dry cleaner for makeup brushes from our friends at Daiso. You can almost see the Japanese writing on the back. Putting that aside, this very, very bright color on the lower right of the Mr. James Charles palette, and this is, or is it, I'm not sure, is he, what are his pronouns? Is he, him, or she, her? I'm not sure. They, them. How about that? We can get into this color, which is called Skip, this bright fuchsia. Now, I would normally be afraid of this color, and I probably should be, but we've been seeing some really exciting Dior blush and other blushes that, especially on deeper skin tones, might not be as scary as they sound. So you can see it on the brush. Maybe let's just be careful. Kiss that high on the cheekbone. Think about our friend Kylie Jenner and her blush placement, right? High on the cheekbone. Are we getting color payoff? Can you see me? Go for another little kiss of it, right? It's got tones of pink and purple, right? Up against that yellow and orange. It looks so exciting, right? Not too far. Watch someone on TikTok bring the blush from right here by the nose all the way back. I think that's not modern. If anything, we want to get closer to the eye, right? Kiss the temple, but don't obliterate the temple. Like I do watch some Instagram artists really dragging that blush up here. I don't think so. I think that you want to think about sunlight. Sunlight hitting the very tip of the forehead, right? Sunlight hitting maybe a little bit on the chin, right? Just to give you some color cohesion. Maybe a few tiny little droplets from the cheek, and then dance it lightly across the nose where the sunlight hit, right? You want to look arresting and enhanced. You don't want to look like you've gone way too far, right? Now this is a very bright blush that we've done a very careful job of getting it on the cheek without being too heavy-handed and too saturated, right? And we can also use the sides of the brush just to diffuse it, make it look natural, maybe a little bit above the brow arch, right? Kind of building on top of the contour. We could have gone and added a bronzer, but I think if you've done contouring, is contour in a cool tone plus a bright blush a good move just to give you some balanced color when you have super bright eye shadow like this? I think so, right? Kissing that forehead. And the only thing remaining is the lip. We could do an eyelash, we could do a heavier liner, but I don't think we need to. Another time when we're trying to be a little bit more formal. But I am not mad at all at this palette. James Charles, get yourself together. Leave the young ones alone. And if you're a friend of James Charles, help him find himself a partner or a playmate who is, I'm not going to judge and say the same age, but you know what I'm saying. Don't get yourself in trouble on the same issue anymore. It's just, it's over, right? You can't keep making the same mistake. It's like being a drunk driver, right? NYX eye pencil in Milk. Maybe a few dots down the center of that nose. Maybe a little bit on the raised tip, right? And then dot that in with the finger, right? Giving us a more enhanced highlight without going into the shimmer place, right? Thinking about the Cupid's bow, right? A little bit on the chin, right? Tap that guy in. Just a little bit more light catching, light drawing, right? I'd be too scared to put this in the inner corner of the eye, but I'm not hating it. Wait. So from here, what are we doing? We're going to get some lip on, right? And maybe for an extra thrill, I'll take my hair down. Lip liner. What could we work with today? We have so many eyeliners. We have lip liners. Oh, we have some new lip liners actually. We've gotten some NYX products. This is an eye pencil in the color medium brown. So we should put this where the eye pencils live. And then we've gotten, maybe not, because then we won't be able to find it. Medium brown. We'll just put it aside so we know that it's new. We actually didn't put anything super dark along the lash line, just a little eyeshadow, and I don't hate it. But we got two different matte lip liners, one in the color Cold Brew and one in the color Moonwalk, right? So they both seem brown, and maybe Moonwalk is a little bit paler. So let's start with Moonwalk and see if it gives us anything, and if it doesn't, we'll go for the darker color. But I don't hate my lip color. I'm just looking at these colors here and looking at that bright cheek and wanting to balance it. Now we did put contour under the lip. We did not draw a big old brown line around our mouth like certain creators on TikTok, which, you know, then by the time the woman does her makeup, it's all obliterated. So was that for real or is that just a gimmick? I don't know. Because a brown line around your lips makes you look like you have a mustache. So this lip color is, it's sort of like reading as like a grayish brown. It could be good to experiment with as a what is the word? Contour color. I don't hate it. It's kind of purpley, making me look like I got punched in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? The Makeup by Mario lip lift technique is to overline in the center. Somewhat, because we're not lacking in the lip department. And then overline on the bottom. This totally looks purple gray. And filling the lips on the side a bit. And I wonder if we could just go NYX Butter Gloss, or is that not enough color? Dilemma, dilemma, dilemma. Do we need to do some sort of pinky lipstick in the middle? We do have these Milani. I don't know. I feel like this color, Secret, might be a little bit, I don't know. Maybe that'll be okay. Well, we can at least try it. Again, the weekend is for experimenting. Oops. We do try to organize our makeup, believe it or not. But you know, this is a matte color Secret. Spring is here. We're wanting our, you know, wedding and ooh, similar looks to be ready. So that reads quite pink. In the tube, it looks a little bit more lilac. But then I, myself, am kind of yellow-orangey in tone. So we want to kind of marry that into the liner. This isn't a brown, right? And some people say put a red in the very center of your lips. Do we have a red handy? Oh, who can say? Here's a random red. This is a Super Stay Maybelline product. Is this too crazy? Comes with a balm. I think it's a liquid. I think it's some kind of liquid. We'll try it. On TikTok, they're like, in the very middle of your lip, get that red in there. So you got kind of a red inner lip. I don't know. It seems very orange. And it's more of a, it is a Super Stay color, so I guess you're supposed to let that dry down, but will it dry down over a matte lipstick from another brand? So many questions, so much dilemma. We certainly have a bunch of brown NYX Butter Glosses, and we have more pink ones and a purple one, so maybe let's go with one of these pink ones. I also have a soft matte lip cream, but maybe we just need to bite the bullet and go for a bit of honey and see what that does. I don't want to ruin it, but I don't want the lip to look so 3 different colors. I don't want to marry it all together. Should I blot it? Now it's starting to lift. The struggle is real. Let's see if our gloss can do anything to preserve this look. But, you know, I'm understanding that a dry lip is more in fashion for 2022. You know, definitely a matte lip. Perhaps one that is not so super glossy. And this isn't crazy glossy, but we are in a gradient place. Use our finger to cover up that liner a bit. I don't know if the different formulas were a plus. I'm not sure if the lip color balances the brightness of the eye and the cheek as well. It's almost like I feel like that dark liner kind of brought things down in terms of their color weight. you know, when I look into the mirror directly, I don't hate it. You know, the overlining is not ever like my favorite, but you know, I wouldn't be embarrassed to walk around in this makeup. I feel like I did it. I did makeup. And now my lip looks more pink and cohesive. There's definitely a definite outline with that lip liner. And I did promise to take my hair down, so let me get busy with that. You know, I always put my hair up in a bun. What is it? Protective style. You know, you kind of don't want your hair to be a mess or distracting or whatever, but you know, my technique is always the twisty pencil type thing, and I wet my hair a great deal, so you know, that's not quite a hairdo, but that is my hair down. So I'm not, I don't know, I don't hate it, but if I dried my hair properly and like curled it, I think it would be, you know, with an interesting outfit, I think it would be pretty. So that's me, House of Tanya. You know, some more height in the crown. My hair is like super damp, but you know, that's what we do on the weekend when the hair is out of the law enforcement bun. I think our contour on the neck and on the forehead worked out great. Maybe we could use more bronzer, maybe a layer of a, you know, some kind of sheer, if not foundation, then like a BB cream, a CC cream would give us more depth of color, but I don't think that we've gone, you know, too dark. I think rather we've done some experimenting. I almost feel like the kind of punch colors of the shadow would beg for a coral on the lip. We went fuchsia on the cheek, but like a coral lip might look, you know, something more sheer, something less producty. But I think my jaw is looking very powerful and strong. You know, subtle earring. You know, I kind of want more height in my hair and for it to be dry. That might be a plus as well. But again, we're experimenting, and I feel like if I wanted to go, you know, mango terracotta with a shimmer, then this palette would definitely be a plus. I feel like we did something, you know, exotic and powerful. And you know, we'll be looking to get into some other colors and some other looks in this palette. There certainly seems to be some strong blues and purples and pinks. Is it what I thought it would be? Yes and no. Yes, I thought there would be a lot of colors. No, I did not necessarily assume that they would work this well on my complexion. So, you know, we went with a little bit of a lighter concealer in the eyelid area, and I think that helped get us color saturation, but I think it's a pretty quality palette to be under $20 for me. You know, as we up our game in terms of brush quality and in terms of palette, if not quality, then expense, this has definitely been an important moment on the learning journey. And I think that we've gotten our contour highlight game a lot stronger. So I hope this has been a worthy exploration for you at home. You know, House of Tanya encouraging you to be ready for camera when pictures or video images are taken of you. If professionals aren't on deck, if they're unwilling, unable, or just unavailable, that you have the power to get yourself looking right. You know, because that's where the coins are, that's where the SAG pension days are, and that's definitely where you want to be for your own aesthetic purposes. So I will see you next time. We have more palettes and more enthusiasm for makeup, and I encourage you to get busy and, you know, experiment on your own and think about outfits and color palettes and, you know, nail color and everything, whatever texture of lip you prefer. And, you know, feel the power, enjoy the power, use that power to get yourself looking camera ready. Okay, thank you for joining me. This has been fun, but now I should go out and grace the world with these eyeshadow colors as I run my errands on my one day off where I'm not half asleep. Okay, talk to you soon. House of Tanya, Signing off. I'm Tanya. As always, I encourage you to live and work in beauty. That's what it is. Okay, next time.